It is a lovely welcome to yet another edition of Chat With, and of course the journalist Arthur Davies Sikopo is chatting with an eminent Zambian citizen who needs a little introduction because of his involvement around politics and of course around governance. He's got so many titles, former and current titles, but obviously for now we just refer to him as an eminent Zambian citizen. He happened to have held the position of a deputy minister in the country, and also other various positions. Our guest this week is Ambassador Mbita Chitala. Doc, good welcome to this platform, and hello.
Thank you, Asa, for inviting me to this platform, and I hope I do the best I can, to match your what the public would like me to say.
Indeed, and thanks for having you as well, and for responding to our invitation to host you on this particular platform. Yes. We know that obviously you're busy somewhere, and also obviously as a senior citizen you're supposed to be resting at some point.
No, we want to rest after we die. For us in Africa and basically in the developing world, we have to work, to deal with issues of poverty. Indeed. And inequality and the abuse of our citizens' rights and so on. And this is a lifelong, occupation that we have.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed, Doc. Thank you so much for giving us this particular opportunity. Just like I said, we are looking at Zambia ahead of August 13th election. Maybe just to set the ball rolling. Let's look at maybe just before we get into the nitty-gritties. Let's look at maybe just the general atmosphere and just the governance in general. We have, of course, a government in place being run by President under the UPND. Just how is the current government performing in terms of looking at the welfare of Zambians and the welfare of Zambians, including yourself?
Yes, indeed. You see, our country, unfortunately, has not done well since 1964. You see, in 1964, we were left with the independent constitution, which was consensually agreed to by the various parties, including the former Federal Party, which became the Liberal Party, UNIP and ANC.
Yes.
And they were agreed to a constitution by consensus at Lancaster, yes, which has been, and in that constitution, we had the referendum clause, yes, as well as the right to recall non-performing president or even MPs or councillors, all those. Yes. Unfortunately, in 1969, the referendum clause and all those safeguards to our constitution were all removed, and we quickly moved on to create the one-party state.
Indeed.
In 1973. Indeed. Now, 1973, we've moved in governance, and my colleague Ak and I, we fought. We fought very hard to try and revert back to multi-party democracy, and which we did. And finally, convinced President Kaunda and his colleagues in 1991 to repeal Article 4 of the Constitution, which allowed for multi-party dispensation in our country. Indeed. And since then, we've not done anything, to democratize our constitution. We've remained with the one-party state constitution. We tried to do that in 1996, yes, when at the time I was in Zadeko, and I was assisted by State Council John Sangwa. Yes. We again opposed the idea of amending the constitution piecemeal. Yes. And we lost, but the constitution was amended. Mm-hmm. And later on, in 2016, another amendment was made to the same one-party constitution.
Yes.
Then later on, they tried to bring in Bill 10 to try and amend the constitution again. It failed. And then lately, the European administration brought in Bill 7, which has now become Act of Parliament 13, 2026, again within the one-party state framework. So what has been happening since 1973 has been to the strengthening of the presidency or the executive at the expense of the people. And because of that reason, there is many citizens opposed the Bill 7.
Yes.
The Catholic Church went out and put up their letters.
Yes.
The ECs, the various other denominations, the mother bodies of the churches opposed the idea of entrenching further powers of the presidency in the constitution. Yes. And in fact, the issues of the Barotseland Agreement also center on the same issue of our constitution. Yes. That our constitution is not democratic. We need to go back to the people and ask all of them consensually agree on how to rule ourselves. Yes. Without that, there will be no development in our country. So that's the number one issue, which is a cardinal in our country. Unless we agree on how to share power, you know, for local authorities, for instance. Look at how we give you an example, how we have damaged the local authorities. The local authorities used to be buoyant, but now most of them, in fact all of them, they are all bankrupt because all the sources of revenue for local councils have all been removed. In Lusaka, used to retail electricity, you know, to its citizens. Yes. They used to, in Lusaka, Livingstone, Ndola, Kitwe, they had their own power stations, and they were retailing, selling power to their citizens, and making money out of it for their councils. Yes. The road tax was was a function of the councils. Because the roads in our towns are owned by the councils, but all these have been removed and taken out to central government. The issues of water, the councils used to run water and charging and making money out of it. Yes. The issues of housing, all the houses, not a single council is building houses for the people. Yes. They used to make money out of that. So. And they were also basically a body corporate. They could issue bonds and do infrastructure for their cities. But now, most of our cities now, you can see the mushrooming of shanties and the potholes on all our roads. Yes. No services at all. And this is because all the power has been centralized in the executive. We need to change this for us to make a movement. That is number one. Yes. The number two issue has to do with uniting the country. You know, the country now is not united at all. You know.
What do you mean it's not united?
The people have been complaining that there has been provincialism and the tribal appointments, you know, at the expense of merit. Yes. And people, there are more than 1,000 people have been retired on account of where they come from. And you look at the institutions in the public service, they are all manned by people from who selected in the regions instead of being subject to them to merit. People have been complaining. And in Western Province or Barotseland, for instance, young people have been rising up, and when they rise up to complain, they are arrested and charged with treason and things like that. You know, all because we've failed to unite our country. You know, and so there is that challenge. Number three, yes. The third challenge we have is that of corruption. There is high levels of corruption in our country. You see, if you look at Mopani as an example, you know, Glencoe surrendered the mine to us, Zambia, for $1. You know, and we should have been owning a mine, a big mine, as Zambians. But somehow the government of the day went and got some Arabs of some kind, you know, and the whole thing didn't pass. It was unconstitutional, but it was not debated in parliament, you know, as the law requires. So it was basically a corrupt conduct. The same thing is happening with the construction of the dual carriageway road between Lusaka and Ndola. Again, the problems there is that we went to NAPSA, and Workman's Compensation, our own money, yes, and gave it to some foreign entity and called it PPP. When this foreign entity should have come with money from outside. The money at NAPSA and Workman should be used by ourselves for other projects. You see. But now here we, you know, again, it's not nice. We don't do, you know. That's number 3. Number 4.
Maybe before we go to number 4, one
yes,
would disagree with you that, you know, especially those that support the government, they would say that, you know, corruption in fact is even reducing this time around, and also citing one of the things that you mentioned of the Ndola dual carriageway. It was said that, you know, it was inflated. The figures were highly inflated by the previous administration.
Well, I can't argue on the specifics of what happened and how it was done and the cost and so on, but what I can tell you that it was not well done. The issue has to do with the cost of living.
Yes.
The cost of living has been going up and impeded, as you know, the cost of milling meal, yes, the cost to our farmers of fertilizer and the inputs, and the cost of had this load shedding, which has killed a lot of our industries, and there are joblessness all over, and there is squalor and shanties rising all over the shore, and without an effort of ameliorating these difficulties. So we have these challenges, you know. You look at the mines, for instance, we don't tax them, you know, fairly.
Yes.
There is capital flight, you know, the FIC report, you know, every year has been sending of money that is running from this economy, stolen basically, this illicit money, you know, running away, and in billions of dollars, which are supposed to be used and yes, banked in our economy to develop our country. So these are challenges. The fifth issue has to do with the weaponization of our institutions. We've weaponized our institutions so much that there is no freedom or rule of law to talk about in our country, you know, and the Public Order Act is abused by the Zambia Police Service, where opposition political parties are refused to hold meetings or anything like that, and you know, there is the cyber laws which have been, you know, introduced, where people are arrested, you know, for no reason whatsoever other than their claims that they are talking on or hate speech. This is what people like Shimakambwili saved time, and the others have run away from this country, like JJ Banda, Honorable JJ Banda, they run away, you know, and there's a young man, Webuna Changara, who is facing so-called seditious, you know, offenses, you know, crimes of colonial type, which were abandoned men, and they actually have been. The courts have ruled that there are no flaws. Those there, they've been, but people appear to be afraid to talk. You know, and that's where we, the elders, come out and say, no, we can't keep quiet, because otherwise we will also be accessory to these abuses. Okay. And so the challenges we have, including the last one I can mention, not the last one, in terms of weaponization of institutions, yes, you look at the ECZ, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, the judiciary, the parliament, they all, like, they are run by cadres of a political, you know, dispensation, which is not right. Those are supposed to be professional institutions, and we need to free the public service, to make it completely a service, institution to the people of Zambia. And lastly, one issue is the issue of the geopolitics. There is no need, for us to become neo-colonial puppets of the West. President Kaunda left us with a good, policy internationally that we should be non-aligned and Pan-African. And but we have abandoned all those ideas. We are even able to send the people, to the Hague, only Solicitor General to go and defend the genocide in Gaza. We can't do things like that. So all the Arab would hate us. The SADC, the South Africans government, I don't think they are very happy that we went to oppose a matter which we had agreed, in SADC as well as the African Union, yes, alone. So we need to get back to the basics of non-alignment as well as Pan-Africanism and enhance the unity of Africa. And yes, so the issues of enjoying basic rights, there are issues which we started with my brother Agashambatwan in 1991, yes, when we rose up and said we can't go on hiding, and you go into a pub, you don't know who is recording you, and we said people should not live in fear. Yes. There must be freedom, complete freedom, and that's how we rose up to start the MMD, yes, in 1991, but we haven't moved far. To enhance the freedoms and that's why at our old age we've again come up and say we must get back to the basics and advance our democracy and development.
Okay, thank you so much, Ambassador. You have mentioned quite a lot of issues there. You've looked at the arrest of people and others, even leaving the country. But others would argue that it is the rule of law that is working, and this time around, in fact, things are much better than the previous administration. That maybe you are just seeing things from a different perspective, but things are very okay. Those that are being arrested and being jailed committed crimes. Those that are running away from the country, of course, are running away from the crimes that they well know that they committed. Of course, we'll dwell into that, but some of those things will be argued against what you are saying. Why is it that maybe you are seeing things from a different perspective?
Yes, of course. Like I said earlier on, for the first time we're now having political prisoners, people who are arrested and jailed for having an opinion. Take the case of Honorable Nakachinda, who was slapped with hate speech, yes, over the cyber crimes. Surely. The same thing with this human rights defender, yes, for a long time, Mbita Chitala, who is, yes, also going through the same so-called seditious practices, yes, which was a law which was enacted by the colonial regimes to try and stop Africans from having public opinions and expressing them. These are taught, and these laws don't exist anywhere in the world. They still remain in our statutes, and there have been authorities where they've been actually been declared now and void. I mean, together with the Public Order Act, as people are found, in a house having a chat, they are arrested for unlawful assembly. Sure, absolutely annoying. And we citizens who are still alive, despite our advanced age, if we don't talk about it, because most of the young people, the Gen Z, your generation, you're afraid of being arrested, and for me, I don't care whether I'm arrested or not, because for talking about against injustice, I'm prepared to die. I'm prepared to give my life to people that they enjoy their freedoms as enshrined in our constitution, in part 3 of our constitution. But here these things are being abused, and for the first time we now have people who are running away from Zambia, going to exile because of their right being prevented to speak the way they want to speak or to assemble. Yes. You know, and this is not right. We should stop that, and we should have a dispensation that provides these freedoms to our people.
Ambassador, this is a very critical year, and having talked about what you have said, that people are not so free, and that others are running away from their country. How do you look at the road to August 13th election?
Yes, indeed. Again, that's an area where, unfortunately, there is not a playing field. When we fought for our democracy, multi-party democracy, we wanted to have a level playing field for all actors, whoever they are, whether they are socialists or communists or they are capitalists or they are liberal. We wanted them to participate equitably on a level playing field where they all are able to work and in dignity persuade citizens of their political postures and economic programs, and on the basis of that we elect the best out of us to rule us. But in our case, that thing is not there. You see, I mentioned to you that the Public Order Act has been abused by the Zambia Police Service to deny citizens the right to talk, the right to assemble, the right to hold processions. I'm told the party of Mr. Fred Membe has been denied permits, or even though the law doesn't allow to get a permit, you just have to notify the police service that you're holding a meeting. But the police will be sending troops to come and arrest you. The same, I'm told, also the party of Mr. This Citizen First group and many others, including the PF. Yes. We can't have a thing like that. When themselves, those who are in power, they are everyday meeting. They are everyday meeting everywhere. There are rallies. They are holding assemblies in stadiums with young people and so on. But they are denying that right to their competitors. That is wrong, as far as I'm concerned.
Are you saying things haven't changed? We had President Akandesha, but the time that he was in opposition, he says he was arrested 15 times, or is it over 15 times? Are we saying that things haven't changed from, because we saw, I think, even some other, videos that I think at the airport, I think in Chipata, when he was denied to movement and all that.
Yes.
Are you saying that things haven't changed?
Those were very bad episodes in which President Hakainde was harassed. Yes. And we should be ashamed of ourselves. But that thing is continuing to this day, maybe at even an expanded level. Here is the situation where, for instance, we have the former president who died in Johannesburg, and this nine months now, up now, the government of the day have gone to court to stop the burial of that president of ours, allowing the family to bury the way they want to bury. To this day is here in a fridge waiting. Surely, even simple common sense tells you that the people who are responsible for how to bury their loved ones is the family, not the state. But here we will politicize the whole thing, and we are a laughing stock to the whole world, So this conduct, we must condemn it, and we must stop it. We must find a way in which we revert to civil conduct of citizens of a country where respect and basically, like I said earlier on, the major difficulty we have in this matter is because of the over-centralization of power in the executive. We must find a way in which we come up with the Fourth Republican Constitution that will give us a democratic party, democratic party dispensation that will allow us to respect we citizens and ensure that we enjoy all that is provided for in the Bill of Rights, the right to assembly, the right to freedom of speech, the right to stay anywhere you want to stay, the right, the security of the person. All those that are enshrined in Part 4 of our Constitution should be allowed to be exercised and enjoyed by citizens of Zambia.
Okay. Ambassador, let me draw you to one thing. Having mentioned all that and having literally touched on critical areas of governance in the country, there is something that has been going on in the country, mostly on social media,
Yes.
linking you and, of course, Dr. Nios Mutani, working under the code name Center for Policy Dialogue.
Yes.
And we've just been seeing that online. Now, would you confirm that you are part of that particular organization? And just what are the real value or the core values of this particular Center for Policy Dialogue? Okay,
I am not a member of the Center for Policy Dialogue, which is the chief executive is Dr. Nios Mutani.
Yes.
And I am a member of the Council of Elders. And I am currently a co-chairman of the Planning and Steering Committee of the Council of Elders that is trying to organize a conference, a national conference on 6th and 7th of March, to come and address these matters I've just, talked about,
Yes.
in the interview. So the CPD is a bona fide registered non-governmental organization that performs the function of organizing meetings and debates of this nature. And so we, the Council of Elders, we thought it wise that we could ask them to host us and create this national conference at which we've invited all representatives of citizens, all political parties that are agreeable to this, the idea that we needed to address these issues I mentioned, particularly the Constitution.
Yes.
And I'll come back to it in a few minutes. That the conference should be able to come and resolve and see the way forward. Now the current group party that is currently in charge of our country, yes, they appear to not want to have any change of the Constitution. After they came up with Bill 7 and they used their mingalatos to pass it through Parliament, and now it's a bill. It's now an Act of Parliament 13, which has brought in its own problems of centralizing power more against the presidency. In other words, stigmatizing the one-party state constitution and make it even worse than it was a while ago. That we need to move to have a dispensation of citizens both from the political parties and from civil society, meaning the church organizations, the students, the Gen Z, and everybody who want to have a good constitution that serves the people of Zambia, equitably, where there is rule of law. Yes. That we come up and organize ourselves and fight constitutionally as provided for by our constitution and this election, so that we have a dispensation that will take us into within the next 2 to 3 years, give us a new constitution, and then there on go on that platform that will have created a level playing field. So yes, I'm involved in the sense that we requested the CPD to organize this conference for us, and we hope that citizens can come. I'm sure, as such a an effort or initiative is a very costly venture. In fact, I will take this opportunity, to indicate that, if there are any citizens out there who would like to assist this process, you may call me, or call my colleague, Prince Agashabatwa, and we'll give you the details on how you can assist us as we go along. From these things, the patriotic thing, it's not personal. We ourselves are not contenders to any office at all. We're too old. There are young people and our children who should be taking up the mantle now. Our job is simply to facilitate this and show that it is possible that we can have a good country where people enjoy their rights and they respect each other, and that there is development in our country. There is lessening of inequality and ensuring that our country prospers.
Okay. You are being with this particular Council of Elders, and also the carrier that you is sort of like helping you out, the Center for Policy Dialogue. You are being seen as to be very critical of the current administration, like maybe they have done nothing, and sort of others in fact are branding you to be pushing regime change. Are you pushing regime change?
I think I just answered that, yes. Arthur. I said we want to have a government that will advance a new democratic constitution, not one anchored on Bill 7 or any of these amendments we've done in the past, which were forced on us instead of. And we need to have a constitution where after all of us agree, both the opposition and those in government, yes, we need subject it to a referendum, and all of us citizens agree, and so at the constitution that we come up with is that which will stand the test of time and will serve our people and our development. Of course, later on, as the technology changes and so on, a later generation could make amendments, but not in the manner we have done ourselves, because we've just been amending the one-party constitution, and the basic aim has been to entrench and increase the powers of the executive at the expense of the people. That is our major difficulty. So if there are those colleagues within the UPND administration who would want to join us, they are welcome. Because this is not a partisan matter. It's not a personal matter or anything. This is a national thing. We've been attacked by a lion. In our house, in our village, the lion has been eating our animals, and all of us, the headman must tell us, let us unite. In fact, this initiative should have been done by the current government. They could have called for a national conference to come and discuss these matters, but they've not, because they are partisan. They want to advance the things which I had mentioned, which are not advancing the unity and freedoms of our country and development. So we've taken it upon ourselves as elders that let us call for this convention and see how, for instance, we can make the judiciary completely independent. Independent in the sense that you allow for the judges to have security of tenure. But in the current system we have, the judges, they are at the mercy of the executive. There is a committee, complement, I think judges complements committee, whoever whatever the chairman there indicates and sends it over to the president, a judge is removed. We can't have a thing like that. Judges must have security of tenure, must be free, and they know that when they give a judgment, it is in the best interest of justice and fair play.
How confident are you that this particular idea of yours as the Council of Elders will pull through? Because we've seen you being labeled and being called all sorts of names, and just being called that you just want to destabilize what is obtaining on the ground, like in terms of peace, that there's peace today in the country, but you are seen to be pushing the other way, and you are being condemned. Just how confident are you that this idea of yours you will pull through?
This idea has to pull through for us to advance. If we don't succeed, we shall remain as we are, and we shall remain, people will continue being oppressed and being arrested for seditious things, for hate speech. They will still continue being tribalism. They will still continue being untold corruption and abuse of institutions. It's up to Zambians. I think we've made a good case that, we will need to have a change of system. We need to have a fourth constitution of the republic to address these matters, to ensure that we devolve power to the provinces, and ensure that there is rule of law in our country, and there is fairness, and people rise on merit, and so on and so on. So if we normally do, Ak and I were very advanced in age, together with the elders in the Council of Elders. Most of them are retired. Yes. There are more than 30 of them countrywide. They meet among themselves and they just dedicated this matter to us in the steering committee to organize this conference. Yes. If it fails, too bad. But I think Zambians of goodwill know that it must succeed, and only then shall our country really start developing, and ensure that our independence, the freedoms that we fought for in 1964, are enhanced, and there is growth of our economy. We address issues of poverty and illiteracy, and the whole issue of discrimination, gender and youth and so on, that there is freedom. The freedom which Nkrumah talked about, yes, which Kaunda and Nyerere talked about, the freedom has yet to bear fruit in our country, and we are determined that before we die, these things is achieved.
I like your determination, and which is well known from your perspective in terms of helping this country in the times of Kaunda, and in terms of the formation of MMD, you being a founder member of the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy. Obviously, you are doing what you know best in terms of making this particular idea flourish. But how much support are you getting from Zambians as the Council of Elders and those that are pushing for this particular agenda?
Like I said earlier on, I think people of goodwill, Zambians, we are not thieves. We are not abusers of power. We've never been, any of us in that accused of anything like that. We are simply patriots who want the best for our country. And the only thing we can do is to advance and hope that we persuade as many Zambians as there that what we're trying to do for Zambia is for the goodness of our country. And in my view, I think more than 80% of Zambians who have heard us do agree with what we're saying. And the challenge now is to actualize now this event, and that becomes successful. And if the people come to resolve that they will need to unite and deal with this matter, deal with this lion that has entered into our village, so that we have a new perspective going forward. So be it. We are simply organizers of a good thing for the country of Zambia, and we are participants in it, but as organizers, and we hope citizens among themselves. There are more than 53 citizens who want to become presidents of our country. Yes. There are more than probably another who want to become MPs.
Yes.
But what is happening now, particularly with this delimitation that is going on, there's gerrymandering. You see, so abuse of office, so not fair. You see, you need to agree with all political players, and that you agree on how you're going to do this thing, and don't rush like the Constitutional Court indicated when they threw out the Bill 7 issue.
Yes.
They are again rushing this delimitation and making many mistakes. Chief Paramount Chief Mpeza they've refused. Senior Chief Mwamba with the Bemba, they've refused, and many others they are saying what is being done is not right. It's gerrymandering. It's cheating the people. So, but we don't want to have this kind of arguments that try to divide our people. We must be discussing them, nicely and mutually and respectfully with each other.
Yes.
And that's the challenge of our government, that they provide a platform like that, but they are not doing that. So people everywhere, they are quarreling among themselves, and this is not right.
Ambassador, one would say that this particular agenda that you are pushing, and our topic today is Zambia ahead of August 13th election. One would ask or would wonder that why are you pushing this particular agenda in a political year? Why didn't you maybe wait after elections, or why did you start pushing this particular agenda way before a political year?
Well, we've been doing this since 1991. We haven't ended. In 1991, after we go to the one-party state, after we innovated multi-party democracy, we went into government. And things started happening wrongly. The first person to leave government was Akashambatwa Mbikusta, was minister at the time with Bodwin Kumbula, you see. Later on, myself, in 1996, I left also because, you remember I went to Zadek, and we've been fighting ever since to this day, And when we came down, for me, when I came back later as in the government of Mwanawasa in 2001, we again fought corruption and trying to do a constitution again didn't work out. So this struggle is a lifelong struggle. It's not something like you wake up over a cup of tea. It's a lifelong struggle, and even to retain any benefits or any gains we did, you must fight and get those rights. And currently we're going to elections on 13th of August, yes, 2026, and it's an opportunity because when we're going to change, and this is the time when we must come in and provide the arguments why change is necessary to address these matters. Because if we don't, we shall be with the same constitution and the same abuses will continue, in the next 5 years. We need to change.
But do you think that maybe time has really gone for you to make changes, to make change this time around? Looking at the political parties around there, most of them seem not to be, in fact others say that there's no opposition in Zambia.
No, that is the argument by people who are defeatists. There is no time. You see, 24 hours is a long time. You can change anything within 24 hours, as we noticed, for instance, in Senegal. It was 1 month and everything changed. You can change things as long as the people are willing and they agree that this is the right thing to do. You can do it in no time at all. But of course, in our case, it's very, very difficult. The playing field is not there. Many of the people don't have money other than the ruling party who has money from all over the show. They are rich, and you can see the way they've been spreading their paraphernalia, chitenges and so on. But we noticed even last time we had a situation where the MMD and RIB came up with a lot of money all over.
Indeed.
But once the people,
I was almost asking you that.
Yes, but once the people decided that what you are doing is wrong, you are gone, you are finished. This is what could happen in our situation where things are not right, are not correct. I've mentioned two issues concerning some of the conduct which I think people are not happy with. I know people are not happy that the idea that our last president ACL is still not yet buried. And I know that people are not happy that there are people who have been arrested and locked up on films, charges of sedition and hate speech, which never used to happen. It's a new thing. It has just been invented, under this our brothers and sisters who are in charge of our government. And so these issues are of public concern. And any citizen who is patriotic, who loves Zambia the way we do, must join us and advance this conference and go and resolve and agree on how to proceed.
And what is your expectation from this particular conference as we draw close, obviously, to that particular date?
I really, for me, as Mbita Chitala, I would like the people that come there resolve on the following things. One, they must agree that we need to have a new constitution that will deal with issues that has divided our country, that will bring into focus the BA 64, which was abrogated in 1969, so that we don't have young people going to the bush and starting problems like what is happening in other countries like Congo and so on. Want peace in our country. Two, I would want those colleagues, when they come in, the delegates, they resolve on how to deal with the whole issue of national unity, to deal with to stop tribalism and provincialism and get back to merit. I would like them to come and resolve and agree on ways of stopping corruption, high level corruption in our country. I would like to have these colleagues, the delegates who come in, to agree on the issue of weaponization of our state institutions, the legislature, the ECZ, the judiciary, the public service, the Zambia police service, all these institutions which have been weaponized against our people. I would like to have citizens to agree on how we tax our minerals so that we get the best. But without money, we can't fund our budget. And God gave us copper and cobalt and gold. We must agree on how to deal with that issue. And lastly, I would like them to agree on how we run our international relations, our geopolitics. We are a non-aligned Pan-African country, and we should, stay on that lane. That will give us peace and friendship among our neighbors. So I would like to hear them, in the end, to come up with a minimum program agreeing on aspects of the things I've just mentioned. And secondly, I would like them, if they can, they must unite and support one political dispensation to go and contest the elections, with the UPND, and ensure that they galvanize and unite our people on the platform which we have just said, and that within 3 years of our government, or if they win the government, or 2 years with the government, we must go now to new elections on the new constitution, which is be democratic, and where the playing field will have been agreed to by all citizens.
Okay, you mentioned Barotseland Agreement of 1964. What do you, as elders and senior citizens of this country, want to see around that particular issue? We had an issue, in fact, from the time just the youths would be rising up. I think under Rupia Band, I think we even saw young people being killed, being jailed, under Michael Sata as well. What is it that you as elders, want to happen in terms of the Barotseland?
Well, concerning this question, I think I have discussed this myself personally, and what I'm giving is my personal opinion.
Yes.
This matter is as clear as day to me, and I've actually written and published on this question.
Yes.
The most important thing is that the BA 64 is a legal document which was signed in London yes. by the Northern Rhodesia Protectorate yes. and the Barotseland Protectorate, and so it's a legal document. And me being a lawyer, just like the late Dr. Roger Chongwe, yes. When he led that as a lawyer, he also saw that it's a legal document. Yes. So you cannot abrogate a legal document, alone. You see, if you find it difficulties in that legal document, you must. It's common sense to go back to the parties and you really discuss it and agree on what you don't agree on. And so, in my view, I think it is important that the Zambian government, together with the Barotseland government, must revisit this and talk in good faith, and agree on what that document which they signed in 1964 entails, and take into account, of course, the 60 years of our republic as a yes. Ignoring it is it's like putting, covering ourselves in the sand like an ostrich. And someday we shall have young people rising up and beginning, difficulties on which we may lose lives. People have been arrested and accused of treason. They've spent time in prison. That's not right, And the common sense it tells me that, we should always, in good faith, discuss and agree. And what, in my view, must be done include one, that we, the government of the day, must accept the fact that there was an agreement, and which was signed by President Kaunda and the Ritunga, plus, and that contract was abrogated in 1969, and that has been a problem. So there must be in good faith. We take into account what Roger Chongwe Commission recommended, and in good faith go and renegotiate on the terms of that agreement. And in my view, it's a very simple thing. All what it required is to ensure that local government is in the preserve of the Barotseland government, which is what happens in many jurisdictions in South Africa. In KwaZulu-Natal, they have their own, the king there, and the same thing happened in Uganda. In other words, there are many examples on how this thing has been dealt with, yes. between Zanzibar and the mainland Tanganyika, how they dealt with. There are many examples one do, but it requires goodwill and common sense. You don't push. But a thing was there. And if, for instance, right now, I just wrote an article on slavery, yes. in which I'm saying that the Arabs and the Portuguese who caused so much mayhem in the last century, through their slave trade must pay us reparations, and this is something which we are moving in the Pan-African movement and asking. They must apologize for the genocide they caused us and also pay reparations to us, the communities that suffered so much. A similar thing, if the Barotseland need, if they've been following the agreement, if they've been hurt, we should be man enough or woman enough to hear them and debate and discuss and agree and continue with our lives.
Ambassador, as we wind up now, road to 13th August, 2026. What is the expectation of the elders, the Council of Elders, you senior citizens, you eminent citizens? What is your expectation in terms of, as we draw close to that particular election, in terms of, of course, I know you have mentioned of how the political field is right now, but what is your expectation, especially after your conference in March?
Well, the most important thing which all of us pray for is that our country continues being peaceful, that there is no violence, that we advance the spirit of discussion and talking to each other humanely and respectfully with each other, and contest peacefully. And we also ask the Zambia, the government, our government, to take into account the fact that the Zambia Police Service has been abused for the last 4 years. They must stop that. They must allow political parties, to assemble and hold processions and campaign peacefully, and. The only thing they can do, which the law provides, is that they can notify the police that they are holding this profession. In fact, in the olden days, we didn't need even to notify the police, because the one you notify should be the council people. They are the owners of our roads and our streets. They're the ones who should be notified that there will be a procession there. Then it's the council who must truly go and notify the police service that there will be this. Can you please provide the security and so on? The Zambia police have no right to abuse our constitution in the manner they've been doing so far, and all of us would pray that peace prevails in our country, and that we continue going on as a united, country, and advance our democracy.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. And maybe just your concluding remarks, maybe any other thing that you would like to say as we wind up this particular interview. Your last words as the Council of Elders, and of course an eminent person
yes,
in the country.
I think the only request, which is what I earlier said, yes, is that this initiative we're doing is not easy. It requires resources, and we would appreciate to all meaningful people who think we're doing well, to chip in and assist.
Doc, thank you so much for having shared your time with us on this particular platform, and just to share your views and with the world out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, really appreciate it. Sure. Well, we've come to the close of this particular interview, where we were featuring an eminent Zambian citizen who is Ambassador Dr. Mbita Chitala, who was just talking to various national matters obtaining in the country, and of course he critically touched on the issue of the conference that the Council of Elders will be having in March this year, ahead of the 2021 general elections, which is coming forth in August. Until next week, when we're back with yet another exciting edition of Chat With. Thank you so much. Until next week, we'll see you.